Okay,
Get a dress and
we are live.
yeah.
Okay, howdy. Howdy, YouTubers. We're going to start in just a minute. Here's a little message for you. Just sit and chill, get comfortable, and we'll be starting in just a minute. Hi, how are you doing?
We switching now?
Okay, is someone?
Yeah, she's sitting in
Okay, thanks so much. Okay, so YouTube folks, welcome. This is the first time we're doing this live streaming. If all goes well, we'll continue to do this once every 2 weeks. Usually that falls on a Tuesday. Sometimes it changes because of my travel schedule. The best way to keep in touch is subscribe to my YouTube channel. So, sit comfortably. Everyone, this is a good time to make sure that your cell phones are off. Also, YouTube friends, I should mention that this being the first time, it's kind of the maiden voyage, the shakedown cruise. I'll be looking at the stream later, which will be archived, so you, your friends, can come back and watch it again once it's archived a little while after we're done. We'll be going till 9 p.m. Pacific time. And this being the first time, I'll be checking the sound quality and, you know, boppity bop bop bop, and maybe, if necessary, improving our miking and so forth. Any comments that you have, any suggestions, any questions, since we won't be interactive, I've got chat turned off so that I can be here present in the room there's a bunch of friends here that will be meditating with us. I'm just keeping the camera on me so that everyone can just be within themselves. So any suggestions or any questions that you have, email them to me is the best. deanslider@gmail.com. deanslider@gmail.com. What else? If you haven't been there, feel encouraged to go to my website, deanwords.com, where there's chapters from all my books. There's guided meditation audio tracks that you can stream. They're always free, and lots of other good stuff. So welcome wherever you are. I've heard rumors that people are tuning in here from far-flung lands such as Florida and the Virgin Islands. So welcome. Okay. So how's everyone here in this room doing? Everybody good? It's a tad warm here in California. Good. So, is anyone here for the first time tonight? No, that's so unusual. You know, I always ask that, and as you know, usually there's at least 1 or 2 or 3 new people. So interesting. We've got all the old veterans here tonight, and presumably new folks here tuning in. So here we are. Welcome aboard. It doesn't matter. It's always the first time right now for everyone all the time. So, yeah, it's never been right now before. You know? It's never been right now before. That's something to look at. Is it 5 seconds ago? Try to do something fun. Try to do this. Snap your fingers 5 seconds ago. No? Okay. Then snap your fingers 5 seconds in the future. Okay, so she waited 5 seconds and then she did it. Yeah, wise guy. Okay. Now, is that really snapping your fingers 5 seconds in the future? No, because whenever you do it, it's now. It's now. It's always now. If it's ever anything other than now, please call me up day or night, because this I want to see. Okay? All our actions, all our experience only happens now. You know, it's funny, it's kind of a spiritual cliche. Be here now. Well, the hell else can you be? But of course, what that means is recognize now. Recognize that it's only ever now. Because mentally, we, of course, we've got this miraculous ability to think thoughts that, as far as we can tell, yeah, somebody's phone. Okay. I don't see anyone going to turn it off. What was I talking about? Back then, I was talking about now. So, yeah, we do have this miraculous ability to think thoughts, which, as far as I can tell, palm trees don't have that ability, rugs don't have that ability, even Siri doesn't have that ability. She's just faking it. So it's miraculous because we can think thoughts, we can build cathedrals, and we can write novels, we can build businesses and do all these wonderful things. But also we can get lost in thoughts, and we can get lost in our stories of the past, and lost in our feelings about that, nostalgia, regret, whatever. We can get lost in our thoughts about the alleged future, what's going to happen. Which of course never turns out quite that way. But we can also get lost in the feelings about the things we think might happen in the future. Anticipation, hope, dread, fear. I wrote a book about that. Right. So a good first step to waking up, which is what this is all about, waking up to what's what. A good first step would be recognizing, oh yeah, here we are. Where are we? Where's this experience? Whatever I'm actually experiencing. Because if we rely on our thinking, you can think any kind of crap. You can make up anything in your thoughts. But if we're going to look at what's our actual experience, then a good place to start is recognizing that it's now. So, please take a look and just notice, what are you experiencing now? What are you experiencing now? So, talk to me. What's something you're experiencing now?
Cool breeze coming in.
Cool breeze coming in. Okay. And what is that experience like? Does it have a color? By the way, these are all straightforward questions. They're not trick questions, I promise you. It doesn't have a color, but it's a sensation.
Yeah.
So we can experience a sensation of cool breeze or warm forehead or cushy chair or hard chair, whatever it is. It's a sensation now. What else? What else are you experiencing?
I like the house. I like the wood, all of the wood, and kind of seeing all of the
Yeah,
beautiful
thanks.
greenery outside, and it's
Yeah.
like a magical house.
Thanks. No, we like this place. We feel very lucky to be in this place. And very lucky to have it, by the way, fill up with nice people once every 2 weeks. So thanks for dropping by. Now, when you say that, so you're now reporting on an experience of, oh, I like this. Now, for you to have that experience, for you to report, ooh, something pleasant, something I like, does there have to be some other experience prior to that? That gives you material, that gives you something to like?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, like you have to, like you described the windows, the skylights and the clear stories and the palm tree come through. So that stuff you see. So, okay, our experience in the now includes seeing. We see colors, we see shapes. And then something else that we usually... Okay, it says you're live. Okay, sorry about that, YouTubers. I'm new at this. Bear with me.
So it's still going.
Do I still? It's going again. All right, so what I just learned was I have to put it on the do not disturb mode so I don't get phone calls on my phone, which is my camera. Okay, so we were saying we see things. We see colors and shapes. We don't really see objects. We see colors and shapes, and then there's a thought, maybe about a nanosecond later, that says, oh, that's a window. That rectangular shape and that, I'm seeing these colors coming through it, that equals a window. Okay? And then another thing happens which says, I like what I see. And that's a thought, a feeling, maybe a thought and a feeling, some association. I've seen other things somewhat like this, and I like them. It's an interesting, kind of very subtle process of how how these experiences arise in our awareness. Now, one thing, let me just adjust this a little bit. All right. One thing that's crucial here is, Tom, did you try to like the experience of the house?
No, I just let it happen.
Yeah, you just let it, he says, no, I just let it happen. And probably we could conclude not even that, it just happened. You didn't even have to decide, okay, I'm gonna let this liking happen. It just, before we know it, there it is. Stuff just pops up. It's simple. Present, so all experience happens in the now, happens in the present, and it happens spontaneously. It's all going on by itself. We don't try to see the colors and shapes. We don't try to feel the cool breeze. We don't try to hear the cars in the road, or this voice, or the fountain burbling outside. All this experience arises by itself. All arises now. We're just trying to establish a few simple facts about how we've been experiencing everything all our lives. Or at least how we're experiencing everything in this moment, which is all that we really have. Okay? So, do we have control over the experiences that arise? In other words, can you make the sound of the car in the road go away? See if you can do that. No, I can't. If you can, come up here and teach us how. Now, something else we're experiencing probably. If you're like me, you're also experiencing thoughts. Now notice, please, how thoughts are experienced. Are they fundamentally different from experiencing colors and sounds and all of that? Yeah.
The first thought sometimes comes unbidden.
Mm-hmm.
The next thought, maybe I have some control over, but
Mm-hmm.
thoughts come unbidden, like,
Yeah. Thoughts come unbidden. They come as unbidden as the sounds or as the breeze, the sensation of the breeze. They just arise. Like, see if you can decide what your next thought will be.
You can kind of direct your focus though and control it in a way where you also get a big, I think you can take yourself on a targeted thought journey,
Mm-hmm.
one that also probably has big hits,
Mm-hmm.
big endorphin hits,
Yeah.
and on that, the sound from the cars from the road will still come,
Mm-hmm.
but you won't be aware of them because you'll dive so deep into those emotional hits. For example, if you had a loved one die, and if you thought of them lying in their coffin with the
Mm-hmm.
flower on their chest, that would pull you in, or a romantic highlight.
Mm-hmm.
And those thoughts have big emotional, visceral hits,
Mm-hmm.
and they can pull you into an internalization that blocks, right? And some people aren't in control of that, but you can sometimes control it a little bit.
Yeah.
Direct it.
Yeah. Trying to think how to keep this simple for now. Yeah, I think we can stipulate for now that, yeah, there are situations where we decide, okay, I gotta do my algebra homework, I really wanna turn on the TV. Certainly, there's degrees to which we can, as you say, focus our attention, direct our attention, direct our experience. For now, let's stay with just the experience that we all certainly have, which is, as you said, thoughts come unbidden. We've all experienced at least some thoughts, a lot of thoughts that come unbidden, that they just, like they appear, they're there for a while, they change, they go away, just like a car driving past. In a sense, we could say thoughts are just like sounds, only not as loud. Not as loud. And I think that's a useful perspective, because then we see there's nothing special about it. People can make a very big deal about their thoughts. And it's just another thing passing through, another experience passing through the now, passing through present awareness. Feelings. You know, you said, I've experienced liking sitting in this room. Okay? So that liking something feels a certain way. There's a kind of, it's a neurological thing. It's not abstract. Oh, I feel likingness. We could say this feels good. Or if it feels bad, I don't like. Another person could be experiencing, seeing the same windows, the same palm tree, hearing the same fountain, and experiencing maybe because of some different associations they have. Feeling, no, I don't like this. So that sensation of not liking, of disliking, is going to be there as the extra herbs and spices in their case. But whatever it is, it's stuff arising by itself within present awareness. This is all we're pointing to. Stuff arising, phenomena arising spontaneously without any doing from our side within present awareness. Simple, simple, simple. Okay? And that generally speaking, we don't have a lot of control, if any. So since we don't have a lot of control, if any, since everything's happening all by itself, let's just sit back and go along for the ride. So let's sit back in our chair. Sit comfortably, and if at any point you become uncomfortable, do something about it. We're not here to torment ourselves. We're here to get rid of suffering, not to add suffering. So at any point, if you need to change your position, or your nose itches, you've got to scratch it, whatever, just do that. You may feel to close your eyes. Don't meditate. No meditation allowed. All work we've done is to change the position of our eyelids. Okay. And continue just to notice what's going on in present awareness, present experience, without any help from us. Of course, now the outer colors and shapes in the room have gone away, but the inner colors dancing behind the eyelids are there, all by themselves. Sound is still there, coming and going. Thought is still there, coming and going, all by itself. Doesn't matter what the thoughts are about. It's out of our control anyway. Feelings are coming and going. Maybe feeling of, oh, I like the sound of the fountain, or I don't like the sound of the fountain. Doesn't matter. It's just another thing coming and going. So I'm not giving you anything to do. I'm just pointing out, I'm like a tour guide, just pointing out what's already there. And we're just resting in the middle of it, since we don't seem to have control over it. Just allowing each fresh moment of experience to unfold all by itself. Even to say allow is kind of too much. It's going to unfold all by itself, whether we quote unquote allow it or not. Not trying to concentrate or focus on anything. Not trying to be mindful or vigilant. Not trying to feel any special way. Just so much simpler than that. Just resting in this present awareness which presents itself in each fresh moment. Nothing we have to do to receive it. That's why it's called the present. It's a gift. Not trying to feel relaxed or spiritual or meditative. Just leaving our experience raw, uncooked. Not trying to add anything to it or take anything away from it. Resting in it just as it is. And as the different experiences come and go, experiences of sound, color, thought, feeling, they're kind of like different objects coming and going within a room, within the open space of the room. The space of the room is what allows objects to be there. But as the objects come and go, maybe someone brings in a chair, someone takes out a vase, whatever. The space is not affected. Space is space. It's open and empty, which is what allows it to get filled up with all various things. But space itself is never injured or improved by any object we bring into the room or take out of the room. So in this case, it's our awareness, which is like the empty, open space of the room. Again, I'm not giving you anything to do, just pointing out how things already are. All the sights and thoughts and sounds, sensations that you're aware of have specific qualities. But the awareness itself, within which the experiences come and go, that awareness itself has no qualities. Open, empty, untouched. So just remain as that. Just remain as the open, empty, untouched space of awareness, within which all the other stuff comes and goes frictionlessly. In other words, just remain as you already are. Just letting go into the natural empty openness of our own awareness. That's simple. Just relaxing back into yourself, which is empty open awareness, like space. And not bothering about whatever is coming and going within the space. There's room for everything. Nothing to figure out, nothing to remember. Nothing to accomplish, and no way to accomplish it. we're already right here in present awareness, as always. The stuff is already coming and going within that open space of present awareness, frictionlessly, just like always. So we really only have two possible choices. One is to try to resist this present reality, try to change it, bang our heads against it. And the other is just kick back, relax. It's great. Just relax into it. Let go into this perfect, open emptiness of your own awareness. Perfectly empty no matter how many thoughts and feelings and sounds are passing through it. Just let go into it, surrender into it. Now let's just say it happens to be a summer evening in August. So we've got all the doors and windows open. So we hear airplanes passing over the house. We hear dogs barking. And maybe there's the thought, oh no, how can I have a good meditation with airplanes and dogs? But of course, first of all, we're not trying to have any kind of meditation. Second of all, what's going on when the airplane noise or the dog noise arises? Oh, it's something passing through open, empty awareness. Perfect. It's like another alarm clock waking us up to the fact of awareness. Now I'm here telling you, oh, and it's fine, whatever, but maybe you're having the thought, oh, I hate that, I don't like that. Well, guess what? That thought, that feeling also arises spontaneously. That's just another thing passing through. So we don't try to suppress the feelings. We just go, so, feeling of resistance. Whatever, one more thing. Let go into the openness of awareness. Whatever's there, just rest aware. Whatever's there, just rest aware. That's simple. if you find yourself really resisting something or clinging to something, okay, just relax your grip on it. Don't, whatever it is, don't try to get rid of it. Just relax your grip on it. Maybe it remains there, maybe not, doesn't matter. Just relax your grip and relax back into yourself. Relax back into open, empty, space-like awareness. Sometimes you might realize, oh, I've been off on some long thought story, some long train of thoughts. Now I've got to get back. But back where? All those thoughts have been happening right here. Right in the same room. Right in the same open space of awareness. Where else could they be? So there's never anything to come back to. All there is once again letting go, relaxing back into this awareness that's always right here. Even if you forgot about it for a little while, it's always right here. Don't try to push away the thoughts you were having. That's the past. Don't try to prevent new thoughts from coming up. That's the future. We've already seen we can't be in the past or future. Just relaxing back into what you've always been. This open, empty awareness, within which everything else comes and goes by itself. Now, very quietly, please notice whether there's something that you're, even very subtly, something that you're doing to be meditating. So that when I ring the bell to end the meditation, you're going to stop doing that. You're going to go, I'm going to stop doing it. And if not, fine. But if you are, stop doing it now. Drop it now. Just let go of whatever that was that you were, that subtle thing you were doing to try to be meditating. Trying to be correct. But throw it into the fire. Throw everything into the fire. And just rest in this simple openness, this simple space that remains when you throw everything into the fire. Okay. So now please leave the eyes closed. Take a couple of minutes to start bringing the body back to a more active state. Kind of like waking up in bed in the morning. shift around, stretch a little. Might feel like rubbing your scalp or your face or your hands a little. Get the blood circulating again. And when you feel ready, you can slowly open the eyes. Take as much time as the body requires. And if you're still opening your eyes, take your time. Okay, how's everyone doing? Any questions about this, whatever we just did?
Why did we wake up? What if we just kind of kept that same perspective and moved into communicating?
What was the last part?
And why do we wake up as, you know, like waking up in bed and all of the things that we do to kind of arouse ourselves? What if we just went back into communicating and engaging with each other right from the meditative and tried to hang on to it?
Well, notice what I say, and I'm glad you're pointing this out, because I used to talk in terms of coming out of meditation, and I never say that. What I'm saying is, let's bring the body back to a more active state, like waking up in the morning. And it's not about, maybe I should use different language for that, because it's not like, oh, we were in some sleepy thing or trance thing, or now we're waking up. It's just we're getting, the body was inactive, and now it's becoming more active. But you're absolutely right. The whole point of this is that the perspective that becomes spontaneously clear to us more and more through our meditative exploration, this perspective which is, oh, I thought I was a thing. I thought I was this object, this person, this, you know, bag of meat with a name and a history and a little name tag. Hi, I'm Dean, but who are you? Right? That, no, actually, and we'll probably talk more about this tonight, that we're actually open, empty awareness with no qualities, with no past or future, with no boundaries, with no problems. Just, that's the real awakening. That's the real awakening. You know what the word Buddha means? It means awake. Buddha does not mean a god, doesn't mean some guy in the East 2,500 years ago. Buddha means awake. So this is enlightenment. This is the real awakening, the real Buddhahood, to use that language. Or we can say, you know, the real finding the kingdom of heaven within, to use that language. Nirvana, samadhi. I like to call it boundless okayness. Boundless okayness. Like spacious awareness. Now, scientists call it the wakeful hypometabolic state. Okay? Hypometabolic, the body settles down. Okay, not hyper, hypo. Body, during meditation, the body settles down as in sleep. The body becomes more quiet. Mind, because mind and body are always connected, the mind also becomes more quiet as in sleep. But we're awake within that silence. You know, people say, oh, I want silence, I want peace of mind. You get peace of mind every night for, 6, 7, 8 hours. But you don't experience it, you're conked out. That's a non-wakeful hypometabolic state. So meditation is a wakeful hypometabolic state. We're becoming awake within the silence, awake within the natural space-like, empty, open, perfect, delicious quality of our own awareness. And then more and more, it becomes clear that exactly as you say, there is no coming out of it. More and more, because what's the nature of my awareness now? It's still open, it's still empty. There's still, okay, my eyes are closed, I see these colors. My eyes are open, I see these colors. What's the difference? At first, it can seem like there's a difference. It's a matter of getting used to it, getting acclimated, and it just gets clearer and clearer to us that, no, there's just all this stuff coming and going. These impressions come and go like objects, as I said in the meditation, like objects coming and going in the room. They don't affect the space. Space is still space. So that's why it says in the old texts that for the unawakened person, all the stresses and traumas of life are like a line being carved in the rock. More and more as you become more awake, more and more it's just like line being carved in the water. The line is still carved, but it immediately closes itself. And they say that, ultimately it's like the line being carved in the air. And those of you some of you have been practicing this stuff for a while, and you've heard me saying things like this for a while, right? But do you notice that when I say these things, or you read these things, it's becoming less abstract? Yeah. It's becoming, oh yeah, it really is more like line and water. The stuff still happens, it still registers, but there isn't that, it's just more, yeah, it goes through you. And you notice that as that happens, you have more clarity about what to do in each moment, how to respond most appropriately in each moment. But let's get back to the meditation itself. I want to see if anyone have any questions about, during this time of sitting. Yeah.
It's more of a comment, is that okay?
Sure, yeah.
What was very helpful to me was the analogy to the empty room.
Yeah.
And you said you could bring a chair in, or you could take a vase out, but it doesn't add, or you said it doesn't improve or injure the space in any way.
Yeah.
And that analogy to awareness was very helpful to me.
Yeah, that's a good one. Not original, by the way. I have that one from, I think from Rupert Spira. Yeah, it's so. It's one of the reasons I love these warm nights is that we've got all the doors and windows open. So there's an car engine going, and then you have that experience, and maybe you experience an emotional reaction to it. Oh, why are they sitting there idling, while they're delivering the pizza or whatever the hell's going on, right? Why is that dog barking? Now there's 2 dogs barking. So you experience the thing, and then you experience your own reaction to it, and then you get a chance to try to push against it, to resist it, to whatever you have to go through until you give up. And then you give up, And guess what? It's fine for it to be there. In fact, you know, I always make the point of, okay, let's turn our phones off. And I'm going to confess, I'm delighted when someone's phone goes off in the middle of meditation, right? Because then, right, what did you experience? Okay, first there's the sound, then there's the thought, and probably the thought tinged with some reaction like, okay, who's the knucklehead that didn't turn off their phone? Or, oh no, I'm such a knucklehead, I didn't turn off my phone. Perfect. Perfect. More grist for the mill, right? More stuff coming and going. More stuff. And then you realize, okay, there's that sound. Okay, there's that thought. Okay, there's that feeling. There are just more objects in the room that don't affect the space. You know, if we could make this a perfectly silent place, perfect, the air, perfect temperature, nothing, no so-called disturbances, it would be terrible. I would change it. Because then you wouldn't have grist for the mill. You wouldn't have stuff to challenge the perception, of the clear perception of the inviolable nature of open, empty awareness.
I actually have a terrible time meditating at home when I don't hear anything but silence.
Yeah,
I need something to latch onto a little bit.
something to, yeah.
Anchor, just, there's nothing sometimes.
Yeah, well, but you know, you have to be, then in that case, that's the challenge. In that case, okay, how is it that you know, oh, now I'm having a problem because it's silent? That's what's called a thought. Okay, and again, probably a thought tinged with some feeling. This is problematic now, it's too damn quiet. Okay, so now that's another object in the room. That's another object in the space.
Okay.
So that's you ultimately have to find you have to find out that okayness, that empty openness, is there no matter what. And then you find out there's no such thing as a distraction or a disturbance or something that makes it better or something that makes it worse. It's
So
all
that-
stuff it's all phenomena. As the Muppets say, phenomena. Phenomena. Right? And I love that thing. If you're not familiar with it, look it up on YouTube. Phenomena. And I love it because it's kind of an equivalence of everything. There's this, you know, on one level, obviously, you know, eating asparagus is different from eating ice cream. But on another level, there's this equivalence of all experience where, you know, whether it's ice cream or asparagus, it's all phenomena. It's just different, more sensations. They're just waves of experience within the same ocean of awareness, to bring in another metaphor. In a way, sure, this wave is different from this wave, and in another sense, okay, this wave or that wave, it's not a big difference. It's all just the ocean waving within itself. None of it disturbs the ocean. The ocean's always resting in its bed, no matter what's going on up here.
In Tokyo, where I live from here, there's at least one Zen center smack dab in the middle of all the traffic and
Yeah,
very, very noisy.
yeah. Yeah, that's great.
That's where you need to go.
That's great. Yeah, no, you go to a place like Japan, okay, where I've gone halfway across the globe to get to the Zen center, and I'm expecting to be in this tranquil grove in the middle of a forest somewhere, and you're right in the middle of the traffic. Yeah. I experienced that when I went to England. All my life, you know, I'd heard about Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Right, the sacred place of Stonehenge. I went to Stonehenge, and the highway goes like this around Stonehenge. It's on an island it's basically on a traffic island.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
It didn't used to be. It didn't used to be.
It didn't used to be. Well, it was when I was there in the 80s. Good. What else? What else? Oh, one thing I want, yeah, yes, sir.
I noticed,
Mhm.
after we had gotten a bit into this, that for a period of about 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes, all the dogs stopped barking, the conversations, everything stopped.
Mhm.
It was really quiet.
Uh-huh.
So I'm thinking, we are impacting the quantum field.
Oh, maybe,
Well,
Maybe.
listen to Greg Braden.
maybe,
Oh.
maybe, you know,
And then the dog started again.
yeah, and then,
Yes.
I guess then, yeah, then when the dog started, we ran out of impact on the quantum field. I don't know, because again, if I've got a choice, I mean, if that happened, for that reason, then your impact is stronger than mine, because my impact, I want some freaking dogs barking there. I want some stuff going on. I want some stuff for people to have to respond to, and so there's gotta be something for you to drop. There's gotta be something that arises for you to let go of, or you're not gonna learn to let go. Yeah, there's always, but fortunately, there's always something. We don't run out of stuff, you know. Good, what else? One thing I should mention, and most of you have heard this before in some version.
There you go.
Thank you. So the main thing that we're stressing here is the simplicity and the effortlessness of this so-called meditation, right? Because it's just, okay, we notice, we're aware, and actually we're awareness. We are the experiencer. We are that room, that ocean, actually is us. You know, we may have thought, oh, well, I'm a body or I'm a mind, but we experience the body. The body doesn't experience us. We experience the body. The mind doesn't experience us. The thoughts don't experience us. We experience the thoughts, the mind. So actually, we are this awareness. We are throughout another metaphor, we're the screen on which the movie happens. So, what do we do when we sit down to meditate? We notice that we're aware. Notice that aware, just like some version of what we did here. You know, it's not like you got to go through some steps and, oh, did I get step 3A right? No, just be very casual and relaxed about it. Oh yeah, I'm aware. Oh yeah, am I having to make an effort to be aware? No. Do I have much choice? No. Okay, may as well let go. Okay, may as well close the eyes and just rest in this awareness. Or rest as this awareness, since this is really what I am. Whichever words work for you. Just resting as awareness and stuff coming and go within it. And then whatever settling down happens by itself. Because we can't try to settle down, because trying is inherently unsettling. And that's, of course, the big mistake that most people make when they try to meditate. I gotta settle down. I gotta control my thoughts. I gotta feel calm. All that I gotta is we're creating tasks for ourselves. And creating tasks is the opposite of settling down. Okay? Tasks are fine, but that's for the other 23 and a half hours of the day. Right? In a sense, that's what makes this so important. This is balancing out all of that tasking. This is untasking. So we're just already aware. We just leave it as it is. Let what comes come. Let what goes go. See what remains. And what remains, as it becomes clearer and clearer, is this open, empty space of awareness. And sometimes you're sitting there thinking, yeah, nothing's going on here. Oh, I'm no good at this. I failed at yet another thing. I'm just sitting here having thoughts. What a waste of time. Blah, 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 blah. And then it's time to come out. We're not going to say come out. It's time to do something else. Maybe you've set your little alarm because you have to get to work on time or school on time, whatever. And you've been sitting there thinking, what a waste of time, nothing's going on. And then you go, oh man, these eyes do not want to open. Right? Yeah, right? Because the settling sneaks up on you precisely because we're not doing it. It kind of happens while we're not watching. It happens by itself. So that's another reason why we always take those couple, 2-3 minutes to bring the body to a more active state, because we can be more settled than we realize. And then if we come out quickly, it can be kind of jarring to the body. You might even get a headache or feel spaced or something like that. Now, that's the end of the process. The beginning of the process, you may want to do some kind of on-ramp activity. So, because at home, you don't have someone walking you into it as we do here. Although, go to my website, YouTubers, there's a page there called Meditate Now, where I have guided meditation audio tracks, much like what we're doing here. Some of you have been using those at home, and yeah, they can be helpful. It's like training wheels. You do that for a while, it becomes less important. Later on, you go back to it once in a while. But otherwise, if you're just sitting there practicing on your own, you may want to do some kind of on-ramp activity. So that could be before you get to the express lane of just resting as awareness. So the on-ramp could be breathing, just maybe slower, deeper breath than usual, paying attention to the breath going all the way in, all the way out. You can do the thing, some of you have done this, breathing through your feet. Just say, okay, as soon as I say soles of the feet, you don't have to do anything. The attention's already there. Breathing's already, let's do this one. So, if I say soles of the feet, whether your eyes are open or closed, there's some, oh yeah, am I feeling it, am I imagining it, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But there's some experience of the soles of the feet. So, imagine or feel whatever it is that as you breathe in, you're breathing in through the soles of your feet. As you breathe out, you're just breathing out through the soles of your feet. And just keep doing that at your own pace. Whether the breath is fast or slow, shallow or deep, whatever else is going along with it, the sounds, the thoughts, doesn't matter. Just breathing in through the soles of your feet, breathing out through the soles of your feet. And let's open the eyes. Okay, you notice just even a little bit, whatever that was, half a minute of that, and you notice things are kind of settled. So that could be a really good on-ramp into meditation. Have a transition from, you've been running around, having a busy day, your mind's caught up in this. So you got this little transitional activity. Breathing through your feet, or just gazing at an object, gazing at your hands, or a spot on the floor, or the ocean, whatever, just something. And not staring, not trying to hold your mind, just gazing. Here's a place to rest my mind for a few moments, and then close the eyes.
I pity the people around me as my feet exhale.
Be that as it may.
Is there a hierarchy of the senses in meditation, or does prioritizing different senses, like we were doing the hearing earlier, or
No.
the breathing body?
No, it's totally random. It's just stuff. It's just, is there a hierarchy of waves on the ocean? No, it's just waves on the ocean.
Unless you surf.
Sorry?
Unless you surf.
Unless you surf, right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, right. Now, and it's a very good, I mean, I know you say that as a joke, but it's actually, there's a good point. Because when you're surfing, it's not just letting the waves coming and going. Now you've introduced intentionality. Now you've introduced judgment, which, and that's not a bad thing, it's just a different thing. It's a different mode. This is the mode of when we're out of meditation, right? This is the mode of, okay, now I'm gonna, this wave is gonna be useful for my purpose, which in this case is to have a good ride. It's great, thank you. No one's ever said that before, that's great. Yeah, so now there's, and it's an important point, because the rules for the other 23 and a half hours of the day are a little different from the rules for the meditation part of the day. You know, I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago on Amazon, where the customer, the reader comments on one of my books, and all people saying mostly nice things about whichever book. It was Natural Meditation or Fearless. And then this one person wrote, I think it was my book, Natural Meditation, and this one person gave me 1 star or 2 stars, and they said, Slider says to just let your thoughts go. Well, if Einstein and Newton had just let their thoughts go, where would we be? And I'm thinking, geez, I really thought I made that clear. That's for the time of meditation, right? So in this case, you know, Einstein, Newton is catching that particular wave of thought, doing something with it, getting a ride from it. You know, as you do when you do your work, when you do your art, when I do my, whatever I do, write my books, okay? Or just when you're interacting with people. Then you don't just let the stuff come and go, then you make choices. However, as you've noticed probably, if you've been practicing for a while, the more you practice, you go into meditation, you come out to activity. You go in, you come out. It becomes less difference. And actually, when you're really actually surfing, literally surfing, you know, when you're really in it, isn't there a sense of kind of flow? Isn't there a sense of, it's like, okay, this wave is 30 feet high now, and I think it's going to crest over the, right? That when you get good at surfing, more accustomed, the whole thing just becomes more relaxed and flow, and you just kind of know, oh, this is the wave, right? I mean, that's when it becomes fun. That's when it becomes joyous. That, you know, if it becomes less of a task, you know, and that's why you do it, because it feels like more and more like not doing anything. It's more and more like not like just being, except dynamic. It's like just letting go in action. And whatever you do, whether it's surfing or, you know, I wrote in that book about a friend of mine who trades oil futures. You know, and his wave, he's watching the wave of the, you know, the graph of the price of oil futures on his, you know, and on his computers, giant computer monitors, and trying to, you know, get whether it's going to rise or fall a nanosecond before all the other traders all over the world were there with their fingers poised on the mouse button. And he's become very successful. He meditates every day. He's been doing it for decades. And for him, it's like surfing is for you. So whatever you do becomes more and more like that. It's really fun, as you may have noticed. Good, what else? Oh, I know something. Tom, something you brought up last time. I wanted to, it made me think of something I wanted to read tonight, just a little bit from this book. When you were talking about, we were talking something about my work with prisoners. Or, oh, I know, it's Daishi, it's our prisoner friend who does the visionary artwork, I think. And I think you asked what was he in for, or some prisoner that I was working with, what was he in for? And I mentioned, you know, I never asked that. And there's something more that pertains to that, which I want to read from Fearless. So this is from a chapter titled That Guy. And that guy is a phrase that I actually learned from my prison guys in the prison group that I work with in New Jersey. It's that guy as in, yeah, everything would be fine if it wasn't for that guy. And I earlier in the chapter, actually, I tell the story about how my prison guys taught me about that. Like, yeah, sometimes that guy is your cellmate who smokes all the time, or that guy is some particularly brutal corrections officer, or sometimes that guy is your wife who keeps sending you these, letters that you don't know what to do with, or whatever. And what we finally concluded is that that guy, whoever he or she is, or whatever that situation is, it could be a situation, is always your guru. That guy is the one that you're gonna learn from. And here we talked about the Dalai Lama, who, as you may know, the Dalai Lama was forced into exile when the Chinese communists, led by Mao Zedong, basically overran their country, destroyed 98% of the temples, killed and tortured people. And whenever people ask the Dalai Lama, who was your guru? He always says, Mao Zedong. Right? Mao Zedong, right? For the Dalai Lama, Mao Zedong is that guy. And that guy, the one person, or the one situation, sometimes that guy might be your job that you feel stuck with, or that guy might be your cancer, right? That thing that you can't, everything would be fine if it wasn't for him or her or that. That one thing you can't do anything about. And whoever or whatever it is, that's always the teacher. That's the one from whom you're going to learn about letting go.
But how does that apply to the question, what were they in for?
Okay, we're going to get to that. This is the preamble. Thank you. Okay, so here's the story. At my very first session at Northern State Prison in Newark, where, by the way, I'm going back there next month, and I'm going to do a day-long retreat with these guys, which I'm really looking forward to. At my very first session at Northern State on a cold night in January 2005, 3 guys showed up. 2 of them seemed bored and distracted, probably medicated, and not sure what they were doing there. They stopped coming after another week or 2. The third, whom I'll call Duffy, kept showing up. He had been practicing Zen at another prison before coming to Northern. He was in his late 30s, sharp, funny, well-read, serious about his practice. I found out later that he wrote poetry and did hospice work for dying prisoners, sometimes sitting up for days at a time, holding their hands, changing their diapers. Afterward, as I walked across the parking lot, I started wondering what he was doing in a maximum security prison. He must have been one of those nonviolent drug offenders you hear about, who sell a little pot to a narc after the narc lures them into a school zone to jack up their sentence by another 10 years. When I got home, I went straight to my laptop and logged on to the New Jersey Department of Corrections website. I knew that each inmate has his own page with mugshot, rap sheet, aliases, and parole date. I did a search and up came Duffy's page. Admission date, December 1990. Parole eligibility date, December 2020. Offenses, robbery, aggravated assault, murder. I decided not to look up anyone else's page. They didn't know the worst thing I'd ever done, and I didn't want to know theirs. My job was to encourage their highest aspiration. Their lowest moment was not my business. Still, though, the question remained in the back of my mind. How did smart, sensitive, articulate Duffy, with no economic disadvantage or racial prejudice to struggle against, wind up doing 30 years for murder? One night, about 4 years later, the guys got me telling a few stories of my hitchhiking adventures in the 60s. Some of them comical, some of them hair-raising. At the end of the session, as guys filed out the door and retrieved their ID cards from the lobby officer, Duffy caught up with me and said, "Yeah, the first time I went hitchhiking out of Florida was when I was 15 and ran away from home. That was right after my dad raped both of my sisters." Oh. My feet kept walking, but my mind reeled as I digested this information. Suddenly, I didn't need to know any more details, any of the steps between point A, the sin of the father, and point Z, the utter waste of life that was Duffy's incarceration. I felt the tide-like force with which his whole life had been impelled to this bleak spot. Tears sprang to my eyes. Fuck, some people never have a chance. "Good stories," said Duffy. He picked up his ID and walked into the night. So,
You rode the wave on that one.
so I love working with those guys. That's my practice. Doing this is my practice. So, any other burning questions before we adjourn for cookies and tea? All right. So we'll do this again 2 weeks from now. We'll be on YouTube Live. YouTube friends, do write to me if you've got any feedback or suggestions or questions, teamslider@gmail.com. And that'll be whatever 2 weeks from tonight. I think it's August 21st. And
Day long.
oh yes, day-long retreat here on Sunday, August 26th. Yes, thank you. August 26th, Sunday. There are still a few spaces open. So if you're interested, let me know tonight or send me an email. Any of y'all out there in YouTube land, if you're in or could be in the LA area, August 26th, get in touch. Be happy to have you aboard for the day-long retreat right here in Santa Monica by the sea. Okay, so it's really good to do this every day. Everything we're talking about, the waking up to the fact that what you are is boundless, infinitely okay awareness, just like space. That's everything passes through it frictionlessly. And as you become more awake to that, what is the best course of action? How to handle things in such a way that's the most effective and the most life-affirming for yourself and all the people around you. It really does happen, as you've been experiencing. I love seeing people nodding their heads like that, because it really does happen. It really does work. It's not just some spiritual, storybook or something. It's real. So the key to all that is sitting down, ideally every day. Doesn't have to be for hours, can be for 10, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, even 1 minute, even half a minute. You You can spend 24 hours of the day caught up in the story, caught up in the stress, the trauma and the drama. Or 23 hours, 59 and a half minutes caught up in it. And if for half a minute, you just close your eyes, just let it go, rest is awareness. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. It's really good to make it a habit, build it into your day, so do it just like brushing your teeth, ideally at the same time every day, just so it becomes part of your schedule, so you always get to it, and see what happens. See what happens. As the Buddha said, ehi passiko, come and see. So, may all beings swiftly realize their own perfect true nature, boundless, blissful awareness like open space. May all beings realize that irreversibly in every moment. And thus may peace spontaneously come to prevail here and everywhere throughout our world, throughout the universe. And the traditional Sanskrit language for that wish. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, see you next time.